Aloha and welcome to this week's Maui live stream. I want to welcome everyone. Thank you for coming and joining us on this live stream. Everyone go ahead as we get started. Just take a nice breath in. And just right, it's not, you don't even need to take the breath in. It's really about just kind of flipping a switch. The more you come to our seminars, our live streams, our conference calls, and our retreats, it's like a switch. We practice this through every one of the things that we do. We take moments and we drop in. For new folks, an easy way to start is take a breath in. Right at the top of the breath, there's a space. And just kind of drop into that. If you want to breathe out, breathe out. At the bottom of the breath is another space. It's like a pendulum. The breath goes up and there's a space. It comes down and there's a space. That space is what in the still point process and in the work that we do with the laser is the key. To me, that space is where I try to live my life. And I'm going to focus on that a little bit today as we get started here. I want to kind of touch a little bit on that because from my perspective, that is the key essence to all the work that we do with the laser, with the Wi-Fi, with the still point smoothie, with the still point process. We have a whole variety of new things that we're working on that are going to be really, really exciting. You know, for me, when I come back to Maui, we haven't been here a whole lot in the last bit, so we're being here a little bit more lately. And as we're here, it's kind of, we live in a property where there's a big kind of dome, sacred geometry dome that we live in, and it's the energy there is really strong. And so for me, it's kind of it kind of downloads a lot of neat new things. And in the process, it's been fun reflecting on and bringing in a whole bunch of new things that we're going to start to unveil starting next month. We have some new technologies which are going to be really exciting. So for emissaries who like the experience of still point and the scalar technology, we are going to be sharing all sorts of new and exciting things. Great, so go ahead everyone, just rest in this space between the breath. Kind of feels a little bit for new folks like holding the breath. You just hold, kind of take a breath in, just hold the breath, and then relax. And as you relax, you'll see the breath keeps going on its own. It re-regulates. The breath will re-regulate like it does when you sleep. And we stay in here. We stay here. I was reflecting on this morning because to me, this is such a big part of my existence. To rest. To me, it's like resting, you know, if there's a big ocean, a tumultuous ocean, and the buoy is being dragged underneath, and the, you know, string or the chain is got rocks and it's held down and it's pulled under. Well, you cut all that stuff and the buoy pops up to the surface. In my life, resting at still point, it pops me up to the surface, and I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Otherwise, life is knocking you around in emotions and thoughts and injuries and stress, and all these things are constantly keeping the experience going like this. And from my perspective, as soon as I drop in here, equilibrium. Check in, really, this is so important. Take a note as you rest here in this place of still point. Take a note. You know, I often tell folks in our seminars, try to find a place of injury or stress when you're resting here. Not easy. Try to find an emotion or a thought while you're resting here. Not easy. When we rest here in neutrality, those things, what yogis call karma, they're not here. The other thing I always say in our seminars about still point is, how do you feel when you're resting here in this neutral space? Check in for a moment. What I often hear people say is it feels peaceful. It feels relaxing. It feels like coming home. In my life, I go through the day, knocked around. We were late. I apologize. There was traffic on this side of the island. There's never traffic here. And there was traffic. We were stuck in traffic for the long, and didn't move at all. There was an accident or something. And so we just literally popped in. So So I get here, and what do? I just drop in. So the reason that I'm bringing all this up today and really touching on still point is, I was reflecting on this, and as we're coming out with some really new, neat new products all around transformation and purification, we're going to be applying this. I want to kind of give a simple overview about our laser technology, and really through today and tomorrow, I really want to be talking about it from the perspective of what makes it truly unique. So what makes this laser really unique, there's a lot of lasers on planet Earth. There's a ton of lasers, and when we talk about cold lasers or low-level lasers, what we're really talking about is light. So I turn this laser on. This is the scalar laser, handheld portable unit, sleek design. And this laser sends photons. It sends energy. So when we use this, every laser, low-level laser, cold laser, therapeutic laser technology says the same thing. It donates photons. It donates energy. So say you have a knee injury or a shoulder injury. This laser donates information in the form of energy to those cells to invite those cells to get back on track with building new cells. That's the entire essence of the principle of laser therapy. And from my perspective, it's really important to kind of get our heads around this, because traditional medicine is not working on the understanding or the reference of what I would call regenerative physics. And if we're going to really get to task to understanding how to take care of our bodies, we have to start with the most important underlying principle, which is that the body is in a perpetual state of regeneration. And I start every seminar that we do with this, every live stream, every seminar, I always say this is a great technology, yet to me, it pales in comparison to the technology of perception, which to me is the true technology here. Perception. And what we do with perception defines how we experience our body. And so from my perspective, I tell people perception is like a computer. Whatever program you have running here in perception is what you're going to get in life. So it's the same thing. You turn your computer on, and whatever operating system and program you have there is what you get. Every day, you don't get any new thing. You get what you have running. And I say this, I bring this up because to me, our opportunity as a people, this is the most powerful thing on planet Earth, in the universe that I found, perception. And it's the most underflexed muscle on planet Earth also. And so, to me, the whole essence of the quantum wave community and the whole program that we're doing, it's about starting to use perception with a laser, with the Wi-Fi, with still point process, with a whole vast array of things. With anything, you can use perception with every single thing we come in contact with to guide our experience to wherever we want. And I bring it up here today because from a health and wellness perspective, the biggest problem I see is here. People in Western medicine are working on the principle that the body does not work. It doesn't regenerate. If there's a problem, this is the mechanism, that the program that people here in the West are using. It says body's not good. Can't find solutions. Doesn't regenerate. Doctors will tell people, bone on bone, you need knee surgery. Organs don't regenerate. Nerves don't regenerate. Eyes don't regenerate. According to them, most of the body does not regenerate. And it's not accurate. It's not true. The only thing your body does ever is to replicate cells. We have to get clear before we, from my perspective, we even get into the laser. Because if people go through life, with that program, that old program running, here's what they do. They don't even consider a laser, because why would they? They have an issue, they have a challenge, they run to the doctor. And the doctor runs same program. The program, body not good, can't find solutions. You got to take something. You got to take a pharmaceutical. You got to get a procedure. You got to go to some other doctor. And from my perspective, in my life, I don't use that program that the body's no good and doesn't regenerate. I use totally different program. Program I use says cells love to grow. The only thing the body does ever is to replicate cells and regenerate, period. If any part of the body stopped regenerating, you'd be done. In 2 days, you have new eyes. Fastest regenerating part of the body. Every cell, every organ has an ROR, rate of regeneration. And in my experience, in my world, that makes my approach to health and wellness totally different. My approach to health and wellness is, We know for one thing, the body's about to be different than it is now in the moment. Well, that moment's either going to degenerate or regenerate. That's it. Or it's going to be a random happenstance effect and like that. Well, in my life, I'm not a doctor. I want to start off for the record. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. I'm not here to tell you anything at all about what you need or what you need to do or how you should take care of you. What I am here to do is to share my experience. And me and Lily for years have been doing seminars and sharing our experience. And my experience is that the body responds beautifully and easily when we apply certain physics to help it that next moment be more regenerative than degenerative. And I want to start with that because this is the most powerful tool that I've come across. It's why I developed it. It's why we use it. And I started years ago, 10, 11 years ago, on a tooth issue I had. Old injury, major pain, inflammation, whole mess above a front tooth, bone loss. That's what got me into lasers. And I found in the course of using lasers that it cleaned up the pain, it cleaned up the inflammation, it cleaned up the area, it regenerated the bone. You can see the before and after. There was bone loss, now bone is there above the front tooth. And in our journey, we began using lasers in our own experience for lots of things. And there's a lot of good lasers out there. And I want to demystify this notion because a lot of companies kind of act like theirs is the best and everyone else stinks. And the LED folks say the lasers are no good. The lasers say the LED folks are no good. Everyone's in this kind of state of they have to be good in order for everyone else to be bad. Well, I don't see it like that. To me, there are lots of great things to use. And we have the opportunity, which is a great opportunity, to pick the things that we want to use in our journey. And for me and many people in our global network of folks, probably over 10,000 people now in our network globally, we find this to be a fantastic and easy to use tool to help that process of donating and delivering energy to cells. That's it. That's the key benefit to cold laser therapy. Laser lights donate photons. Those photons go into the cells and stimulate the part of the cell called the mitochondria to produce more ATP, which is a fancy word for cellular energy, just a fancy word. In our case, with our laser, I want to just touch on a couple of key things that we do that make us a little bit different. I don't want to get too technical today. I want to shift gears pretty fast into using lasers. Right here, everyone go ahead and take another nice big breath in. Great moment right here. See, I stopped there. I was going, and I could have kept talking. I could have kept, but there was a space that opened up in my perception right there. And in my life, just like a lot of people on planet Earth have been trained to think and to be thinking and then having emotions or moving with their day from one place to the next, in my life, I am constantly cultivating the opposite. How can I carve out in that area space? And the more I do that, the more I get little moments like that where I was saying something and my experience shifted. I felt this kind of breeze. So everyone take a moment and just drop in here for a moment. Again, for new folks, take a breath in. There's a nice space in between the breath. And just rest here. Breath will keep going, yet we're resting here in neutrality. I do this a lot. If you come to our seminars, if you come to our retreats, to me, even this, a live stream to me is a retreat. It's a chance for us to get together and collectively drop into neutrality. I was considering, planet Earth, when thinking came in the last age, it was like, wow, thinking, isn't this great? And that was the big hopping thing for that age. To me, we're entering a new season here right now on planet Earth. And to me, thinking is the operating system of the old age. To me, neutrality, still point, is the operating system that I use. And you consider in life, what are the things that make you happy? You consider the things that bring you the most sense of joy, peace, love, happiness. Those things have one thing in common, usually. People aren't thinking when they happen. When you're going swimming, or you're up in the ocean, or you're with your loved one, or you're in meditation, or you're in some ecstatic state, or some situation, thinking stops. So look for these moments. Okay, I want to touch on one or two very simple things about our laser. and then we'll get right into using the laser. For new folks out there, the handheld laser, the Scalarwave laser, uses 16 laser diodes. There's 8 red infrared lasers, there's 8 infrared laser diodes, and then there's some violet light LED emitters as well, which I'll get into right for a quick moment and before we shift gears. The red laser, our company is unique in that we use 3 wavelengths. This is a red laser. Red lasers are great because they work on surface. You can see the cells in that area, the skin, the muscle, the nerve. Red lasers are very popular on planet Earth because they're the most available laser diode and the most affordable. So many companies use red lasers. Red lasers are great for skin. They're great for acupuncture. Many acupuncturists use red lasers. For years in China, they've been using laser acupuncture. Acupressure, we have many folks that do laser acupressure on hands, on feet, on the ears. Acupressure facelift. I routinely go around the hand. I'm just looking around. Are there any areas that feel good? As it happens, as I'm doing this right now, it's like, wow, all these areas that feel good. You know, for me, that's what I do when I do a protocol. I'm just looking. Occasionally, I'll go off the body a little bit. I tell you, you can, and you know, it's not like you have a little needle and you got to find the points. When you do this, pretend. I often routinely just go around and I just scan all the cells in an area. What does our laser do? It's cleared for pain relief, inflammation, circulation, arthritic pain, arthritis or arthritic pain in Canada, relaxation of tissue. So what am I doing? I'm just using light. Why? Studies show that when you apply light to an area, it's just like a garden. Gardens donate, you know, you plant the garden in the sun. Why? Because photons donate light. Light donates photons. Sun donates photons. What does photons do? They energize things. Cells are no different. Cells are no different than anything else in the universe. Red lasers, really good for pain. You ever have really bad pain, open wounds? Why? Because red lasers, more than any other laser, is profoundly good at stimulating cellular regeneration and repair. Why? Because red lasers target the blood. There are significant studies that show that red lasers are profoundly good for stimulating circulation. I always want to be clear about this because I am not of the view that lasers heal things. I am of the view that blood heals things. Blood, when it's pure, has oxygen, electrons, energy, stimulates cells to regenerate. Every single cell in the body, when it's like your transportation system. You know, you bring blood everywhere and that brings energy and that stimulates things to grow. Well, the biggest issue that I see for people on planet Earth is stress. Things shut down. When things shut down, there's no blood. When there's no blood, things don't grow. They shut down and they degenerate. Everything in the universe works on one principle: energy. You look at galaxies, you look at stars, you look at space, you look at plants, you look at elements, you look at crystals, you look at stones, you look at cars, you look at cell phones, you look at homes, cities, stars. You name the function in this universe, mass. You take anything, every single thing, physical, wood, a chair, every single thing works on one equation, and that equation is energy equals productivity. In fact, try to pick one thing in the universe that doesn't work on that equation. If there's energy, there's productivity. If there's no energy, there's degeneration and things disappear. So the cells in the human body are no different. If there's no energy, things degenerate and don't work. If there's energy, things... I want to just really get clear, because while this is an approved medical device, we're approved by FDA, we're approved by Health Canada, we're approved by all of Europe, CE, and Australia, TGA, and some other countries. We're also an ISO 13485 approved medical device manufacturing facility. We make our lasers in the US, we make them in Vermont. That's the red laser. Now 90% of the companies out there only give red lasers. And I want to say one more thing, because with this system, you know, for price, a lot of the lasers that are the same price as ours, they give you only 5 milliwatt diodes. 5 milliwatt diodes. Our system, that's a 100 milliwatt red laser. Very unique and rare to have a system that can do 5 milliwatt and also 100 milliwatt plug-in probes. So I just want to touch that. So we have a wide range of applications by virtue of having these more concentrated probes. And right now, we have specials for new folks. If you're if you're new, this is the month to buy right now because we're throwing in some of the probes for free. So you can get a really good deal on the entire package. This is the infrared laser. This is the infrared laser, which is good for me right now. I can tell because as soon as I put it on, my body is kind of feeling like it's going into what we call still point response. In our seminars, once you get involved with our community and our network, we get into a whole training called still point, which is understanding, very simple, how to drop into perception and how to notice when your body drops into what we call still point response. In my life, I'm constantly looking for what are the things I'm doing, so I make all my choices by, well, is my body dropping into still point, or is it getting into this zone, adrenaline zone? 95% of our planet is in this zone constantly, adrenaline. Well, we want to look at how can we drop into this neutral still point zone. So infrared lasers, the benefit of infrared lasers go much deeper into the body. Studies show that the infrared, which the human eye does not see, infrared lasers, infrared light and lasers go right through the skin, the muscle, the nerve, and they bounce into the bone. Again, all lasers are donating energy. Red ones donate to the surface, skin, muscle, nerve. Infrared studies show go deeper to bone, tendon, cartilage, and disc by virtue of the type of wavelength, by the approach that the waves take to moving through things. Studies show globally that infrared lasers are really good for bone, cartilage, disc. This is what I used extensively. I used the red laser first up here, then I used the infrared laser, and to me, the infrared one is the one that helped really get the circulation and blood flow going up in the bone so I could regenerate that. Again, from my perspective, any situation I come in touch with in my body or anyone else, my view is always, the body grew once, of course it can regenerate. There's no situation that I don't go around telling people, oh, you got to regenerate that. No, yet I go around with holding the reference that why not? Why shouldn't we regenerate the body? The body is an amazing experience, technology. It's been in the process of growing since we got here. It does a really good job of it, or we wouldn't be here. Why not give the power back to the body to do its work to regenerate things? To me, it's obvious. To not do that doesn't make sense to me. So again, infrared lasers. We have many chiros. Some lasers out there use red. Some use infrared. The problem is that the red and infrared companies that don't combine, they are in the business of saying, well, red works, infrared doesn't. Infrared say theirs work and red doesn't. And from my perspective, infrared is totally different. It's very beneficial and valuable, just works totally different. It goes deeper for bone, cartilage, disc, and very helpful for certain situations, deep-seated arthritic situations, situations along the bone, along the spine. I routinely, if you want to get energy into a deep area like a shoulder cavity, I had a major shoulder injury when I was a kid. As I often share, most of my injuries that I have worked on over the years are from when I was young. I was a ski racer, and I was hard on the body, and I messed up a bunch of things being hard on the body. Well, the shoulder is one area also got tough on the body. And for me, the thing that really got me over that was infrared lasers. I just used the infrared laser. Why? Because the infrared laser sends the energy further in, gets the energy in there into that cavity, so the cells in there can start to get more blood flow, more oxygen. Really good for knees. Really good for deep-seated bone, tendon, cartilage, and disc. That is the infrared. All right, the third wavelength that I want to touch on is the violet. And this one is really special. A lot of people, I don't touch on this too much because, I just don't. Yet it's very rare to have 100 milliwatt. This is a 100 milliwatt violet laser. And most laser companies don't make violet lasers because the diodes are not, they're not inexpensive. They're costly. It's one of the newer lasers to be developed. The only other company that makes one is got a 20 milliwatt violet laser. And it's $18,000 cold laser. This is a 100 milliwatt violet laser. Traditionally, it retails for $2,900, this probe. Though again, right now we have some very good specials, and in some cases you can get this one free for some of our packages right now as well. As I'm using it, see right there, that is a great example. Everyone take a nice big breath in and just drop into still point. For me, I put this on, and as soon as I do, I'm on Unity right now. As soon as I put it on, it just dropped me into still point. That's what I mean. In my life, if I was, doing some business, which we've been doing a lot lately, the nice thing about Hawaii for us, Lily and I are usually so busy, and then we travel every weekend, and then we get back, and we're busy, and we're busy. The really blessing of being in Hawaii for us is we get up very early to deal with our Vermont office, and by midday, everything else shuts down around the planet, so we can we're still busy, and then eventually we can turn off for a little while and get to the beach and open up and really work on downloading some new things. I tell you, some of the new things we're developing, I am so excited about. I cannot say enough. It's become very clear to me the direction of some of the new technologies we're going to do to complement lasers. We're going to have a couple of new technologies coming out, one of which will be coming hopefully next month. We'll have it available for people. And based on renewable, I'm going to give little hints here, based on some renewable energy and some other technologies using our scalar technology to really help to cultivate and purify our world around us. So stay tuned for that. So, the violet laser, as I mentioned, to me, key benefits. It has a very balancing effect for energy, for emotions. To me, it drops me right into still point. Studies indicate violet light is really good for purifying things, for purifying the blood. Studies show that it gives off a little bit of ozone. As it gives off some ozone, it's great for bacteria, viral, fungal situations. Also really good. Some cosmetic esthetician folks use the violet laser. They say they get phenomenal results on acne, blemishes, rosacea, skin. I tell you a lot of great testimonials from people. I want to just qualify that cold lasers are, a medical device. In many countries, we have people using this as a cosmetic tool. It is in cosmetic typically it's a voluntary registration process, so it's not considered a medical device. We have many people using our lasers for veterinary use, veterinary care, again non-regulated, and we have many people in the yoga and experience kind of alchemy, energy, using it from a perspective of flow of energy, relaxation, and alchemy. So Violet Probe fits into that really beautifully. It's a big part of what I do. Many people who have the violet laser, when I bring it up and ask if they like it, people really like the violet laser. It has a very soothing, balancing effect. It's also profoundly good from my perspective for dental hygiene. It's antibacterial, so it's great for dealing with gums, periodontal issues, cavities. 95% of all situations in the teeth, from my perspective, are bacterial based. Cavities, gum disease, gum recession, you name the abscesses, it's all bacteria. Bacteria is the biggest thing plaguing people in the dental perspective, from my perspective, and it's not discussed. So when people get cavities, no one's saying, oh, it's a problem, they just say brush your teeth, and no one's there saying, well, gee, toothpaste, number one ingredient, sugar. And sugar is basically what feeds bacteria to continue to grow. So from my perspective, really important to have a little bit of a reference in terms of dental hygiene, and we cover that in some of our seminars. I use this for dental hygiene. It's fantastic. Now, I'm not saying this is for fixing the teeth or anything like that. I'm saying that this is for getting blood flow, circulation, moving in the mouth, which brings in white blood cells, brings in lymph, and helps to clean stuff up. So I'm always clear from my perspective, lasers are great for stimulating the body's own natural healing and regenerative capabilities. I do a lot of work up around here. This is a favorite point for many people in our network. Right here, below the nose, above the mouth. This, in Chinese acupuncture, governs the key meridian up the back of the body, called governor meridian. This right here is a key meridian for balancing the meridian down the front of the body, called the conception meridian. Those are the two in China. They're the two great rivers that nourish all the other meridians. So you want to strengthen all your meridians in your body. 2 points. Right here, right in between, right here, for the front meridian. I tell you, you do this every day for a few minutes, you'll see amazing strengthening. I'm just on unwind, just doing it. As I'm doing it, I'm like, whoa, this feels so good. Drops me right into still point. You see, I try things until I feel my body going into still point. When I go into still point, I say, oh, okay, good, this is nice. Those are two favorite points. Tip of the nose, another favorite point. Inside, I often work inside the nose. You want to get light up into the pineal pituitary glands. I tell you, you want to balance depression. You want to balance your brain waves. You want to balance the glands to release the key substances, DMT, PEA, oxytocin, harmalines. All these compounds that happen in here, when they're released, they make us feel good. They make us feel like we're having a nice day. Well, easy. Violet probe. This is alchemy. This tip of the nose, I tell you, I love working on the nose. This is one of my favorite points. If I had one point to pick, the nose, great points. All in here, around here. I tell you, I sold a laser once to a gentleman. He had sinus problems, so I worked up in here and in here. Next day, he called up, bought a laser, said, I did these points, and the next day, he got up, his eyesight got better. He couldn't wear his glasses. They didn't look right. So he ordered a full set. Famous guy up in Mount Shasta area, musician. All right, so that's the violet probe. So I'm just touching on these to give you all a little overview of part of what makes our system unique, and why we designed it this way is its versatility. Red for surface cells, infrared for deeper for bone, tendon, cartilage. Violet works on the energy, the lymph, the emotions, chakras, meridians. Let's do a protocol. Everyone go ahead, drop into still point for a moment. For folks that have a laser, we're going to start. I'm going to work over the adrenals. The adrenals are halfway up the body on either side of the spine. You can work in the front or the back. And I'm on the first program called Unwind. I'm just leaning right back. This is a basic protocol that we do in our network called the Unwind protocol. I'm on Unwind. I'm going right over the adrenals. As I'm doing it, it feels great. My body feels like it's relaxing. As it's relaxing, I can tell it's relaxing because as I'm doing it, if I'm resting here, the feeling I'm having is one of, that feels good. Kind of feels like a breeze. And so for new folks, if you're not sure you're on the right, if it feels good or if it's the right program, just kind of say, gee, would you watch this if it was a TV show? When we watch TV, same thing. You find a show you like, you relax. You put it down. You go to another one, you don't relax. You go to another, you find the one you like, you relax, you put the remote down. Same thing here. Don't let the notion that it's a medical device prevent you from doing what you're good at doing. Radio, you tune, I don't like that, go to the next one, relax. Go to the movie, no, I take this one. Food, I think I'll take that one. Same thing, just try this one. When you feel the right one, often I get people that say, well, what if they don't feel anything? Baloney, everyone feels things. Just ask, would you watch this if it was a TV show? If you can't say yes, not the right one. We only have a few programs we use, and I'm going to go over those in a little bit. So I'm working over the adrenals. Adrenals to me are key. If you come to our seminars, you hear me discuss this a lot. A lot of people get our laser and they think they're going home to work on their knee or their shoulder, and they end up doing that. Yet every seminar I do, I got 2 emails this week from people. Someone who came to our retreat in Vegas, and they shared that they've now been to a lot of retreats, and something is finally settling in around unwinding and still point. They're getting it. I cannot say this enough. The biggest thing I do for my health every single day is to unwind. If I unwind my adrenals, let me put it like this. The adrenals are designed to stimulate you to be and to do things. Your adrenaline kicks you into gear to go sympathetic. Got to go here, got to do this. Adrenaline was designed so that you could respond when there were animals chasing you. Adrenaline kicked in, and adrenaline basically goes around, tells everything to stop doing what it's doing, tells the prostate to stop, the adrenals to stop, the pancreas, diabetes stop, the thymus, your immune to stop, thyroid. Adrenaline makes things stop working purposefully. So it can ramp up, literally, adrenaline works like this. It tells things to stop, it kicks in your blood pressure, ramps it up so you can run. That is the goal of adrenaline. It's designed so you can run and get out of the way from animals, or other things that are going on that are a stress and a problem. And the thing that I see again and again, the biggest issue that I see on planet Earth, I just changed to quantum. The biggest thing I see on planet Earth is people, they come. I know it's the big thing because when I put the laser on them on their adrenals, every person that comes to me, I start off with this protocol. I unwind the adrenals first. Why? When I put them on the adrenals, the people start to go into what I call an unwind breath. They go like this. They take a breath. It's kind of like if you've ever seen network chiropractic or you've ever done cranial work. You can tell when you understand the subtlety, and we're going to get into this tomorrow. Anyone who wants to really dig in tomorrow, I'm going to really overview a whole kind of reference about still point and why still point is the essence of our approach to using the scalar laser and our approach to wellness. Drop right into still point. I shouldn't say that definitively because I never know exactly what I'm going to say when I show up, but that's really important for me. I've been wanting to kind of go through an overview still point and how, to me, in my journey, it is such a key blessing. It's like thinking is the key if you want to move around and do things and achieve things and be great or whatever here on planet Earth. Still point is essential and key, or the key, if you want to open up and expand to the energy of the universe and beyond. So that's the choice. We can think and we can be great here, or we can open up here and we can be filled with the energy of the universe and express the essence of who we truly are. I tell you, I've heard this from a lot of yogis and mystics and great saints. You read their life stories and they all say the same thing. They say they traveled the planet far and wide. They experienced everything. And then they said, stop. I got to sit here under the tree. I got to get up into the mountain. That stuff, I see this, and then they often say they see the challenges and the suffering, and then they stop and they be quiet and they open up and transcend. So now I'm going to the other adrenals. Well, you want to make that reality in your day-to-day existence, unwind the adrenals. This is a shortcut. Instead of going and wandering the Himalayas and sitting for however many years in meditation, unwind the adrenals. It works great. I do this every day. Unwind the adrenals and my body resets. I get back here into still point and I reset. All right, that's the adrenals. By the way, if I'm working, some days I might have something going on, an injury or a situation. Could work over a knee or a shoulder. Same thing. I turn laser on and I do unwind first. See, does it feel good? If not, well, okay, it doesn't feel so good. I go to quantum next. Usually one of those feels great. If that doesn't do it, I go to unity or wave or activate or pleo or vital. Doesn't matter. Just pick one. And just check in. Wow, how does that feel good? I'm on the sacrum right now, the tailbone, and you can tell I can barely kick out a word to fit in the next sentence or line after that. That to me is good. When that happens, that's my body shifting. I'm going into still point. I'm dissolving. I'm unwinding. I tell you, you have an injury and it's like this, and you unwind it, guess what happens? Blood comes in. Oxygen comes in. Electrons come in. What does blood bring? White blood cells, stem cells, lymph. Everything comes in there. It starts to say, oh, great, let's get things going. You have a health challenge, a disease. Maybe a genetic situation, maybe something else. Well, if things stay tight like this, what happens? Nothing good. You unwind that area, what happens? Well, oxygen comes in, blood comes in, energy comes in, the DNA unravels, resources come in, things start to come in, things start to open up, energy of the universe comes in. You have some emotional situation. Well, you can stay like this and it's cooking, or you can unwind it. What happens? Things dissolve, they unwind. Some big concern about something, thinking problem, same thing, you unwind. Personality is a big knot. Yogis say the personality is a big knot, a congested knot of all the impressions that someone has accrued during their experience here. Well, right now on planet Earth, a lot of people's, the knot is going like this. It's being whipsawed around. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. Well, I can't say this enough because I see there are people close to us, and the amount of people close to us that are going through, and just you consider in your world, the people you know, the situations going on, the challenges of some people, going on right now, a percent is so high. Big issues. It's almost like 1 out of every 1 people has a major thing going on, challenge going on, or someone close to them. So what does that tell us? Well, that tells us that there's an acceleration, that the things, the karma that are going on in people's fields are cooking. So we have to give space. We have to give space. Whatever it is, whether it's a major health challenge, financial challenge, relationship challenge, loss, whatever that thing is. No thing is better or worse. All things are things. And so we have to find space in our own reality, and if we want to help the people around us, to offer tools for people to open up and invite this essence in. To me, and I'm not saying this as someone who hasn't gone through stuff. I go through stuff, a lot of stuff, anyone who sees our life. Me and Lily, our whole family, we've been through stuff. We still face challenges. Everyone does here on planet Earth. You're not being honest. And so from my perspective, if I can find that space, that neutral space, that essence, whether you call it prana or chi or universal energy or scalar, I call it neutrality, whatever you want to call it, if I find space for that to come in, those things, they start to loosen, they start to dissolve. So every day I make room, make space to invite that in, using the laser, using the Wi-Fi, using perception. Everyone take a nice breath in. All right, so second place I worked on today is the sacrum, which you can do from the front over the pubic bone. Also, this is key. Many people's sacrum is tight. If the sacrum is tight, the big nerve trunks down the legs don't pump blood. That's, to me, the root cause of people getting knee injuries. If the sacrum is tight, which it is for a lot of people from sitting on it all day long, which is kind of popular here on planet Earth. I'm on wave right now. Real easy to unwind the tailbone. I tell you, every yogi, every shaman understands if you don't unwind the sacrum, it's called sacrum for a reason. Sacred bone. Yogis say the energy of life is in this area. Taoists say when the sacrum's released, chi flows through the spine. Same thing. They both say the same thing. Native American. Go study Native American shamanism. They say when this area opens, staff of life, energy of life, tree of life, rainbow bridge. Names everywhere. The Western medical symbol is a scalar wave up the spine, the staff, gland at the top, right brain, left brain, frontal lobe. It's a symbol, an ancient alchemy symbol for activating the sacred energy of life along the spine. Why? Just like the Taoists say, you have energy, chi along the spine, you have good health, you have longevity and happiness. Again, right there. See, I dropped into still point. Notice when still point response happens. I tell emissaries, and I want to give a reference here. There are some emissaries doing such good work. I just send out so much appreciation. And Lily and I are hearing stories of some of the things. There's so many emissaries bringing people into these live streams. You're doing great out there. We have other emissaries that we now have these Facebook pages that are event pages. And so we have emissaries that are sending out these invites. They're going to an area, Australia or other countries or chiropractors, and they're basically sending out to everyone, inviting, going and getting on there and inviting 10, 15, 20, 100 people to each event that we do. I tell you, there's some great opportunities right now for marketing these live streams, and many of you are doing it, and you're just doing fantastic. I also want to give a quick thank you to everyone in Canada, the Edmonton event this past week, and it was a fantastic event. Thank you to our emissaries there, and thank you to the emissaries who were doing some shows in Calgary and in Saskatchewan. You all are doing just fantastic. Folks in Florida are doing great. In California, Mexico, Iceland, UK. We got folks kicking up in Australia right now, Costa Rica. So everyone out there, you're just doing fantastic. Right here, anyone who has not unwound the pubic bone right below the belly button, this is key. When the sacrum is tight, the spine is all tight. When the sacrum is relaxed, the key to unwinding the sacrum is loosen up the sacrum and loosen up the pubic bone. If these are tight, the spine is tight. If these are loose, the spine relaxes, the nerves down the legs. People come to me with knee injuries, a sciatica. All I do is unwind the sacrum and the pubic bone. Prostate issues, unwind. Anyone comes to me with prostate issues, I get the laser right over the pubic bone. Sexual health issues, right over the pubic bone. Low energy, pelvic inflammatory disease, right over the pubic bone. Easy, easy. I tell you, scoliosis, unwind the sacrum. Sacrum's like this, spine goes like this. Anyone with structural problems, ongoing back pain, unwind the sacrum. I tell you, these are 3 areas, this unwind protocol. Adrenals first, which you can do from the front, by the way. Don't be too technical. You don't need to be an anatomical expert. Just pretend you're an expert. Adrenals halfway up. In fact, the adrenals are lower. I'm not even over the adrenals. I'm just going halfway on the body, base of the spine. 3rd key area, the ridge line between the ears and the back of the cranium. Again, right away, my body drops into still point. Feels great. I'm not going to do this too long. I want to move on to a couple other things. Why is this important? Because unwinding the occipital ridge releases the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve comes out of the cranium and governs everything your body does without you thinking about it. Vagus nerve governs the organs. It governs digestion. It governs the heart. It relaxes stress. So if this TMJ is tight, it clamps down the vagus nerve, the occipital ridge. I tell you, every day, if you haven't unwound your occipital ridge, every day I take a moment, make sure I unwind the occipital ridge. Anyone dealing with any health challenge, you bring me any person with any health challenge, and from my perspective, I don't care what the challenge is. I care that the adrenals, if the person's releasing adrenaline, you can't turn something around. If someone's in chronic pain and they're releasing adrenaline and getting upset all day, you're going to have to live with pain, because that's the way it works. That's the physics of adrenaline. Adrenaline is the physics of going like this. So, unwind the adrenaline. If the sacrum is pulled up and tight, well, it's like a hose. You squeeze. You want to have a hose that works, and you squeeze the tip of it. How are you going to use the hose? It's not going to work. You got to unwind the sacrum. If the tailbone unwinds and relaxes, energy flows through the spine. You know, your spine is a bunch of vertebrae that have little nerves that go through. If the sacrum's like this, the vertebrae go like this. The vertebra goes, and all those nerves that come out that go to different areas to tell things what to do, it's like a highway. You get a highway and a ton of traffic, the on-ramps don't work so good. No one can get in real easy. Well, you get the vertebra all stacked up and tight like that, no movement through it, no movement through, and all those nerves get compressed. No blood flow, people get pain, the organs shut down, the key systems in the body shut down. It's problematic. You know, years ago I studied cranial sacral work. I was very drawn to cranial sacral work. I almost became an osteopath. I experienced cranial work, and I want to touch on this because this is really central and key to our approach to using lasers. Well, when I got into cranial work, when you learn cranial work, the key thing they share with you when you learn cranial work is you got to be very, so you go there and you learn it, and you know, you put your hands on the person, everyone's trying to feel. They say there's this rhythm, this wave. Well, at first everyone's like, well, gee, you can't really feel anything, until the teacher says, all right, everyone, relax your hands. Pull back from the body till you're barely touching. And at a certain point when you're barely touching the person, the head or the sacral area, you feel this rhythm. It's like suction. It pulls your hands in, and then it pushes them out. It pulls them in. So when I experienced this, I said, my goodness, this is fantastic. So for years, and I want to say this because cranial folks are really into this rhythm. This rhythm is the positive and negative of our galaxy. Our galaxy has a rhythm. It moves. Everything in the galaxy is moving in this rhythm. It goes back and forth. Back and forth. Like a big bottle of water. You spin it around and everything has a rhythm. It goes back and forth. It's called polarity. And from my perspective, it's called karma. That's karma. You live in the galaxy, you have this karma. What is that vortex? positive, negative, in and out. Well, everything in our galaxy has this rhythm. Elements, all electrons, everything moves around a center. Our planet moves along what they call precession, the axis. That creates, in this dimension, it creates the ocean tides. Well, in the body, same thing. You have the spine, positive, negative. You have the cranial rhythm, back and forth. If you dropped anything in a bottle of water spinning around, everything in that water is going to go back and forth. It may rotate a little bit, yet it's going to have its own relative experience of being in the physics of that relativity. Well, everything in our galaxy is in the physics of the relativity of going back and forth. Well, when I experienced cranial work years ago, they also show you how to take that positive and negative and drop it into still point. You drop the positive, negative into still point, and everything goes neutral. Well, when I learned that, I actually was not that drawn to the rhythm part of cranial sacral work. When I experienced that, to me, it was profound. And for years, I did body work, and all I'd do in the body work was I'd find people's injuries. They'd say, oh, over here. I'd find the rhythm, and I'd collapse the rhythm into still point. This is key. This is key to all of the products and technologies that we are working with and develop. So from my perspective, when you take an area that has pain, an injury, or some situation, and you drop it into still point, the information from that situation goes. It's like a delete key on a computer. To me, it was like finding a delete key on a computer. It works. So when I learned cranial work, I really, unlike most cranial folks, do still point for a minute of the whole session. I would do still point would be like the whole session. I would just use the wave for a moment to make sure the tissue was there and balanced, and then I'd collapse it. You know, Deepak Chopra, who was one of the first people that said, you know, we know the body is new constantly. It's constantly regenerating cells. Well, why would someone have an injury 10, 15, 20 years later if in 7 or 8 years your body's totally new? Doesn't make sense. If the body is new, why would someone have an injury 10, 15 years later? And the answer to that, does that work? The answer to that is that people often hold on to the information from the injury. So if someone has a knee injury or a shoulder injury or some situation, well, the problem is the cells in that area hold that information from the injury, the emotion, the injury, and the new cells keep coming, yet the old cell transfers that information to the new cell. So now the new cell acts like the old cell, even though it's a brand new cell. That process is the same thing as what happens in family dynamics. One person has some emotion, they don't want to deal with it, it gets passed on to the next person. Well, to me, this is the biggest problem by far of what's happening to our people right now. People are in the business from the last stage of holding on to things from the past. Everyone out there, if you're new, take a big breath in. As the breath comes out, relax and let go. Take another big breath in. This go around as the breath comes out, try to hold on to a thought or an emotion as the breath comes out. Not so easy. Try again. Take another big breath in. This go around as the breath comes out, try to hold on to an area of tension or pain. Not easy. This is key. I just can't say this enough. What you probably noticed is that when you breathe out, the body shifts to neutrality. And in neutrality, you cannot hold on to polarity. You can't hold on to cell memory. You can't hold on to emotions. You can't hold on to thinking when the body is neutral. This is the key. You know, karma is polarity. I don't use the word karma. It's too complicated. It's polarity. It sounds really like challenging, and you need to go to the Himalayas to figure it out. From my perspective, polarity is anything that you're holding on to. And it's very easy to dissolve karma, to dissolve polarity. We just did it. Just take a breath in, breathe out. Can't hold on to it. Now try something else. Take another breath in and drop into the space between the breath. Drop into still point. Just take a breath in. At the top of the breath, just drop in for a moment. Hold that space. Breath keeps going. The reason that I live in still point is because still point is, this space is neutrality. The universe is 99.999% space. This is like a tuner. You tune it to thinking, you get thoughts. You tune it to emotions, you get emotions. You tune it to concern for the body, you get body. You tune it to neutrality, essence of the universe, prana, chi, whatever you want. Well, guess what fills in this space? Neutral essence. Now, when I learned cranial work years ago, I could feel the rhythm, collapse it in neutrality and injury situations. So for years, I unwound people. They'd come, I'd unwind the issues. They'd come back. 2 weeks later, they had some more issues. I'd unwind them. At a certain point, I got sort of burnt on that. And so I took a while off. I went to India, as I occasionally would do. And I was visiting with a yogi, and you heard the yogi say he lived in space between the breath. As soon as I heard that, it clicked. I said, this person lives in still point. The thing I had been working with, he lived in. I said, oh, that makes sense. From that moment on, I organized my life around living in neutrality. That yogi barely slept, barely ate, saw thousands of people every day, always smiling. The key piece for me, the clincher for me, was the smiling and the bliss. That was like, oh, gee, I haven't met a lot of people who hold that all day long. Cannot say this enough. You start cultivating this experience in your life. Yogis say if there's karma, there's no prana, there's no energy. Got to dissolve the karmas before the energy starts to set. I couldn't even stay here on this planet if I didn't at least every day have a moment. It could be even 1 minute where I drop in and I get back here and I say, oh, this is beautiful. Open up, allow energy to flow. Our retreats every 2 or 3 months. For me, it's 3 or 4 days of dissolving karma. Anything that's going on, welcome it, dissolve it, till we rest here in this nice neutral space of still point. Still point lotus. To me, the more I rest in still point, it opens up this lotus of experience. I bring this up right now because from my perspective, our technology, the scalar technology built in the laser, which I just want to touch on today, we'll focus more on it tomorrow. Inside the laser, we have a unique waveform called a scalar wave. So when I built this laser, when we designed this laser, my goal was not to make another laser. We also designed it to have another technology built in called scalar wave technology. And that scalar wave technology is a nonlinear technology using a proprietary process that we program. There's a processor in here, and that processor weaves through different laser circuits a waveform called a scalar wave. And the benefit of that scalar wave, is the same thing. In other words, in cranial work, you have the rhythm, the positive, negative, and then you drop the rhythm into the space. Positive, negative, and then neutrality. Same thing with the breath. Positive, negative, and the space in between, neutrality. Well, in the laser, we weave different circuits, positive, negative, and they collapse, neutrality. Positive, negative, neutrality. So the whole essence and benefit of using this laser is to activate these subtle scalar waves. Why? Because these scalar waves open up still point. So I just can't say this enough. From my perspective, when we use the laser, the goal of using the laser, to me, is to send energy to the area, and more importantly to me, to unwind and dissolve the tissue, the cells, and to open up this experience of still point. Be it on a knee, be it in a shoulder. Why? Because when that still point experience opens up, guess what happens? Cell memory dissolves, karma dissolves, and energy starts to flow and align and come into the equation. So that's the key. That is the whole essence and purpose from my perspective of the scalar wave laser and of all of our technologies. Every technology we're using, it works on the same principle of welcoming things, dissolving, opening up that neutral state of the universe. To me, we live here on planet Earth. It's like a bubble, and this bubble has been like living in this little delusion in the last age of being separate from everything. It's not really separate from anything. Yet the bubble has kept out, to some extent, this huge flow of neutral energy. And so as a result, people have had the experience in here of being separate and what have you. Well, everything that I do, whether it's the laser, the Wi-Fi, or everywhere I go, my goal is, well, okay, great, I'm here, let's dissolve and open up let's pierce a little hole in that bubble so this neutral essence can start flowing into this experience and start opening up and transforming and cultivating a new season here. For new folks, this is a new technology that we have called the Wi-Fi. It stands for Quantum Field Inducer. It's another technology. It's our newest technology that we released recently, which uses a scalar technology. It's not a laser-based technology. It uses scalar waves in a little bit of a different way than the laser. We're not transmitting scalar waves through light, as is the case with the laser. In the laser, we actually send and open scalar waves directly inside of light. And that creates a very nice effect for tissue to relax. And this is doing it differently. This is sending scalar waves through a crystal oscillating technology, a new technology that we are patenting right now. The key to this technology, from my perspective, is the scalar waves have a really nice effect at neutralizing and balancing EMFs in a location. They're very balancing for balancing cell phone towers. We were in a situation recently where we were really close to a cell phone tower, and I just wanted to see, because normally I don't like to be really close, spending the night really close to cell phone towers, and we were, and so I turned the Wi-Fi on, and to me it opened up a space, and literally my nervous system, my body felt fine throughout the course of the night. So this is powerful. I've gotten great testimonials from folks with smart meters or neighbors that had smart meters, and it was having a challenging effect on their nervous system. You see, this is part of the challenge that our society and our people haven't totally gotten, which is that right now, so many of the technologies and things we're developing, be Wi-Fi, you know, we just had to get a new system at our place here because it had lapsed, and they couldn't understand, you know, why I didn't want the modem that has Wi-Fi. And I explained and what have you, and they just didn't understand. And finally, I just kind of broke it down to them, and I said, look, you know, go online, Google, you know, a number of countries have banned Wi-Fi from schools. They've banned it in Australia, they're banning it in Europe, and the reason they're banning it is because studies show that Wi-Fi with children affects the heart. It can throw off the heart, which of course it shows it with adults also, but I guess it's, you know, it's more effectual in the case of children. So as a result of that, you know, we have to get a reference that all of these things that we're using, Wi-Fi, cell phone towers, there's all sorts of different, you know, things out there now about chemtrails, and we're being bombarded with all of this discordant information and energy. The way they route electricity through homes, power lines. You know, people live, you know, 200-300 feet from power lines. Well, you have to be sensitive and understand that if you want your body to relax and unwind, and it's being bombarded with frequencies and different bandwidth and what have you, the effect is that it's going like this on the system. So my goal in developing this technology was to find a way so that as I'm traveling around the planet, because I can't have control over, you know, every place where we are, and everything, you know, and I was reflecting on this actually recently. I was reflecting on this. I got a question from someone about, well, what do, you know, if you live right next to a wire, you know, a big, what do you call it, not cell phone, power line. You know, how do you make, you know, how do you adjust? How do you get around that? And I was kind of reflecting on it, and the way I was considering it was, just like with the body, from my perspective, there's no body that comes to me. I don't care if they have metal in the body, a pacemaker in the body, all sorts of dental work. There's no situation where, from my perspective, my view, I don't care even if it's, you know, amalgams, whatever the situation, if someone comes to me, my view is there's always stuff that can be done to open up space and to allow energy in to bring solutions. The universe is filled with solutions. And I was reflecting on this, and what to me was so kind of poignant, so clear, is that every single thing, even the things that we think aren't good, elements that we might not like, or things that might be a little harsh, or whatever the thing is, it comes from this amazing ocean and font of neutral energy and essence. There is no thing that's not permeated with this neutral energy and this neutral essence. And so from my perspective, I don't care where I am, we have the opportunity, even if there's cell phone towers, even if there's, to open up space, which is really what this technology is designed to do, to open up space into a given area. It works hundreds of feet around. And when I do it, I feel my field, my body, open and go into this nice, nonlinear kind of place. If you come to our seminars, I often talk about the quantum field, this energy, this envelope that surrounds the body, and how it's been proven now in like 3 or 4 studies, recognized studies. First in Russia, they did them in Europe, they've done them in Israel. Numerous groups in the US have done studies using diagnostic equipment of the biofield. I call it the quantum field. Some call it the aura. To me, it's a quantum field. It's a field of energy that surrounds the body. And this technology, for me, is what I use to help cultivate, strengthen, open this nice quantum field. I'm on quantum right now. You check in from where you are. See if you feel this right now. I'm on quantum. For me, it's got a nice, soothing, relaxing effect. If I were doing this at home right now, I'd just drop off here for a little while. This is, to me, putting me in a beautiful space. You know, it's no different than anything else you use. If you use an entertainment system, you find things you like, so it creates that nice. For me, I find the program, it puts me into a nice state. There's only 6 programs on it: Unwind, Quantum, Activate. Third one is Activate. Unity, Cohere, and Wave. This one's Activate. See if you notice a difference. I was on Quantum a moment ago. Now I'm on Activate. Scalar energy transcends space. There's no distance in scalar. I've had people, when we do this over live streams in Mexico and Europe, who emailed, said they felt it. See if you notice your body shift. This one feels totally different to me. This one I feel energy coursing up the spine, energy flowing up the spine, up into the glands in the brain. So in my life, I'm looking, all these different tools, be it, I've shared 3 tools here today so far, 3 key tools, all have the same goal, all have the goal of dropping me into still point. In my life, I recognize I can go through life fixated as the body and the personality, or I can go through life dissolved as the state of this quantum field and of this neutral essence. Linear, non-linear. And so I'm looking constantly, what things can I do at different points? I can have a smoothie, that puts me into neutrality. I can run the Wi-Fi, that puts me into neutrality. I can do a laser session. I can take a moment. That's 4 or 5 things right there. If I do one of those things every couple of hours, I'm trending here. I'm trending here. The world is trying to pull us back to here. This planet's gravity pulls people into physicality. If you're on planet Earth, you're on it's like being on a ride where you go to an amusement park, and you're on the ride, it starts spinning around, and then you say, gee, do I really want to be on this ride? Is this the place that I want to be? Well, that's what happens when you come to planet Earth. It's like it's spinning around and it's sucking everything down to this point right here. So you're like, geez, what's going on here? Well, from my perspective, we have to find the things that begin to loosen that and say, well, gee, let's float back to this experience of being part of the universe. That's my goal in life. And many in our quantum wave global community are using these tools to help cultivate that experience. I apologize for the battery. We normally would have gotten here and made sure they were charged, but we had been in some traffic, so my apologies for that. I want to finish off with one more protocol here, and a very simple protocol. It's a protocol. Actually, maybe I was going to do one, and I think I'm going to do something else. So. Let's do a protocol to cleanse the blood. I'm going to start with the liver. This is a really easy protocol to do to cleanse the blood. And in Edmonton, I got at least 3 or 4 questions from people that were dealing with some situations where they wanted to clear the blood. And so I'm starting on the liver. The liver is on the right side of the body. You know, it's so good to clear the blood. I tell you, if you're dealing with any kind of situation that's got to do with, you know, feeling tired a lot, or feeling like you're just sluggish, or food poisoning, or autoimmune challenges. Again, I'm not saying this fixes or cures or heals. I'm just saying, hey, let's get some blood going. Let's stimulate the blood. Let's activate the blood. Let's purify the blood. I'm on a program right now called Rejuve. Although I often might do this with quantum, or I might do it, it doesn't even matter which one. They're all the same. They all send light. They all send scalar energy. I'm on Rejuve right now. It feels really good, so I'm going to keep going. And I'm moving it around a little bit. The liver's all in this area. It's a good one for me. My body, as I'm doing this, it's like, whoa, that feels so good. All right, the second place I'm going to go after I work on this is right here, right below the sternum. There's a tremendous amount of blood that moves right below the chest, sternum area from the heart. This big opening of blood that comes down to the lower extremities, right here next to the heart. Aorta area. And you can kind of go over here a little bit. Ah, it feels great. All I'm doing is saying to the body, hey, this is like plumbing 101, just checking around, make sure, is everything relaxed? Every area where we want to supercharge the blood. I always start when I do blood on the liver. You know, I came across another laser device, medical device that they're selling it. They're not in the U.S. because FDA hasn't approved it, for laser blood purification. Well, I've been saying for years you can use lasers. And, my view about laser therapy is purify whatever's here. You know, I don't care what I'm working on. I don't give it names. I'm not trying to fix or cure. I don't tell people buy our laser, it's going to cure this or fix this. My view is, you know, if you have a problem and there are cells there, use the laser to unwind, relax, get some blood, oxygen, electrons, and get cells to start kicking in and doing their work. You know, like I said earlier, all cells are designed to regenerate new cells. That's what the body does. You know, there's this neat, all right, so this is right in here. Whew, that feels great. I want to go up here to the third point. 4 points I'm going to do right now for this blood purification protocol. First one, liver. And by the way, as I just went back here to the liver for a moment, I went on the side. Really good when you're doing the liver to occasionally work on the side. Tomorrow we'll probably do a full organ protocol. And yet, that feels great. Second area in here, around the heart, central area. Third area, tip of the nose. Tip of the nose. There's a ton of blood that goes right through this area. In fact, the medical device I saw that pitches, they put 2 lasers up in the nose, and they say it purifies all the blood as it moves through the body and circulates right here. Well, I've been doing this for years, telling people to work right around the nose. Not only does it work on the blood, it also balances the heart meridian, the lung meridian. Energy along the spine. All right, good. That's the tip of the nose. The last area that I'm going to do, and I'm going to change to another program, I'm going to change to cohere for the moment, is the sacrum again. The sacrum to me is such a special area because there's, alchemically, I've been saying for years, the sacrum has a huge effect on the blood and on the immune system. And recently I've been reading, there's now studies correlating stem cell production to some of the large bone structures in the body, and in particular to the sacrum. So from my perspective, the sacrum is hugely important, along with the thymus gland, which is going to be the point that I finish on here. For folks, this isn't a protocol I've shared a lot, but to me this is a high-powered blood purification protocol, which is also really good for activating super immunity. I want to be careful. I'm not saying the laser fixes the immune system. I'm saying that there are areas that have been found to correlate to stem cell production, white blood cell production, and if you understand those areas and you unwind them and keep them energized, well, then those areas help to regenerate and activate key systems in the body, like the immune system. All right, so that's the sacrum, the tailbone area. We work on that a lot for folks in our network. I often tell people every day to make sure that their sacrum, their tailbone is nice, relaxed, and at ease. I'm on cohere, and I'm going to keep going for one more moment. It feels kind of nice, so I'm just going to keep going. Now again, if you're new with our laser, and you're getting the hang of it, hopefully you are, when you work on an area, trouble area, same approach I'm taking right here. Just turn the laser on, go to the area, try unwind. Try quantum. See which one gets those cells to start to relax, unwind, and dissolve. Next area I'm going to go to right now is the thymus gland. Why? Studies show the thymus gland activates white blood cells, stem cells. It sends signals that activate the blood. Well, this is why it's so important to make sure every day that your adrenals are unwound and the thymus gland is open. If your adrenals are running the show, from a glandular perspective, I often make the analogy of the glands. If you had a pool of water and you had a big red light in that pool of water, well, all the cells, all the water molecules would light up the color red. You take that light out, you put another one in, well, all the water now lights up another color. Well, your body is a pool of cells. And so if your adrenals run the show, your body is getting the signal constantly for the cells to go like this, to flip polarity, to go on, off, on, off. Well, the problem with that is that when that's happening, the other glands are not getting to release the compounds and the signals that they're designed. So it's why every day I start on the adrenals, make sure my adrenals are relaxed and at ease. And when I finish, I make sure the thymus gland is the key gland. I want the thymus gland to be the signal from a glandular perspective that's signaling every other cell in the body. Why? Because if the thymus gland if the adrenals are running their signals, the body is flip going like this: stress, tension, karma. If the thymus gland, the heart chakra gland, is sending its signals, then the body is getting the signals of anti-aging, longevity, immune enhancement, activation, and love. That's a good one. And love, and getting that nice sense of compassion, understanding, love, connection, unity, not separation. We're not separate from the universe. We're woven of the universe. We're like a super seed of the universe designed to open into consciousness. Part of the great flower of the universe in creation. Everything has its function and its purpose, as do we. It's not to be stressed intense. It's to open up and be connected and share and express the essence of the universe and beyond. So that's the thymus gland. Now I'm going to finish up on a final protocol. I'm just starting at the base of the spine and moving up along the spine, energy up along the spine. Again, just starting here at the base. When I finish protocols, I always like to get energy moving up along the spine. Good health to me is about having energy flow up to the glands in the brain, up to the top of the head. All right, good. All right, that's the laser, another laser protocol. So right here, I want to suggest don't when you're done with a session, take a moment. For me, I'm done with this session because my body is in still point. So I'm resting in still point here, and I look to this as this is the goal of the session, to get me here. So I'm in this place of still point, and from my perspective, I want to soak in this for a moment. To me, I've cultivated some nice neutral energy. I want to rest here. Everyone go ahead and take a nice breath in. Didn't take much. I barely took the breath, and I was like, wow, why take a breath? I'm already here. Now take a quick look. Take a quick scan around your body. See if you notice anything different from when we started today. See if you notice anything different. To me, I feel this nice periphery around my body, this nice space of the quantum field. See if you notice that. Do you notice your body? I mean, this is so key. If you've been using the laser, and this is what I want to come back to. I started on this. In my life, by using lasers, it has helped me tremendously to hold still point. I hold still point in my reality a lot. I go out and things are going on and I'll just be in still point. And I attribute a huge piece to it, to using this technology. Unwinding the adrenals every day. If your adrenals are working you up every day, you can't stay in still point. So in my experience, cultivating the body to be here helps me to hold this still point. Now everyone take one moment and just check in with your quantum field. I always like to share in our retreats and our seminars, in case folks are out there that don't have the laser. To me, if I don't have a laser, I use still point. So take a quick look around your body. Start with your body. Do you notice any stress? Do you notice any areas that still feel any injuries or tenderness? If you do, just go over to that area and simply welcome that area. I have one area that's a little uncomfortable, so I go over to that area and I just say, welcome. Aloha, welcome. And as I welcome that area, to me it feels exactly like using the laser. I feel that area relaxing, unwinding. As it relaxes and unwinds, I drop back into still point, right there. You practice cultivating with this process. Now look around again. You practice cultivating this process, and I tell you, things will unwind. Right now, people have been trained to hold things, so they stay in place. Well, in the same way that you hold things, you have to be able to unwind things. So now look and see, is there anything else upsetting you right now? Is there anything else going on in your life? An emotional situation, a challenge with work, with finances, with not sure about something, a loved one departing, a loved one with a major health challenge. Whatever it is, just pull it up here. This is the quantum field. It's like your computer screen. Every day, take a look. See what's going on here. Physical body. Check your physical body. Check your emotions. Is there a program running that you've been running in your life around relationship pattern, around some other thing, around what you're doing, how you're setting something up in your reality? Maybe a program from the old age. Well, whatever it is, just bring it up. Maybe it's around a health situation or whatever it is. I don't want to make it up. Whatever it is in your life, pull it up here and simply say, welcome, aloha. I see something, I pulled it up. I just say, oh great, welcome. Thanks for showing up, as though it's a long lost friend that's been holding something dear for you until you're ready to welcome it again. Well, that thing I pulled up is, I can tell it's cooking. It's like, in our seminars we talk about this. Things will start to kind of cook a little bit. Most people, things start to cook and they freak out and they divert it and they block it and they put it somewhere. Well, when the more we get comfortable with this process, when we're in still point, we don't want to block it. We want to say, oh great, aloha, we hold it. We call it holding. When something's cooking, like for me, this thing I brought up just now, it's cooking and I'm just saying, oh great. I'm holding it with care. And I'm saying, great, thank you so much for showing up. I appreciate that. And as I welcome it, it only works if you do it from neutrality. If you do it from judgment, if you're judging, you say this is silly out there, this doesn't make any sense. I tell you, cynicism, if your judgment and cynicism are working here, I guarantee you they're working everywhere else in your life, making your life a mess. So welcome it. If judgment shows up during the process, welcome that. If cynicism, welcome that. If for me a program, something popped open, and I said, oh great, welcome. Maybe an emotion, whatever. And as I dissolve, as I relax, right there, this is not a long process. For me, the more you get comfortable with this, for me, I do this and I'll welcome something. It takes, and same with the laser, it takes 5 minutes at most, 10 minutes at most, and it dissolves. And then it dissolves, and I can tell it dissolves because I drop it into still point. And so I'm resting here in still point. I just cleared 2 things right there. A physical thing and then another thing that showed up for me. And that doesn't mean that tomorrow when I go to do this, that those things might be there again. I might say, oh, you're here. Welcome. Thanks for showing up. Till they dissolve. Some things need a day to dissolve. Some things need, 2 months. Some things could be 2 years to dissolve if you've been holding them for 60 years or 40 years. So like an ice cube, I just welcome it. I say, oh, great, you again. Thanks. Welcome. Aloha. I have things that I used to welcome every day that are gone now. This is your space. If you hold things here, the universe is going to keep bringing them back. This isn't rocket science. You turn on your computer, you got a bug in there, it's going to be there. You turn on every day, you got an injury here. If you don't dissolve it, who's going to dissolve it if you don't? Tell you right there, I cleared 2 things just now. I know I'm done with this process every day when I'm resting. I want to show folks one more thing. Go around the outside of your body envision like a laser, one of those movies, those sabers. Go around outside, clear any cords, any blockages, any holes, any cell memory in your aura, in your quantum field. Tell you, a lot of people have cords in their chakras between them and their loved ones, their friends, their family, their communities, their groups they're involved. Yogis say every single thing has some karma, some energy. And the more things you're connected to, like a vase, the energy is here and then it's going out to everywhere. When I do this work, I always start and go around the field and I just say, anyone, even my friends, my family, my loved ones, when I'm doing this work, I don't want any cords. If you're trying to cultivate neutrality and you got emotion streaming in from your loved one, well, it's going to be hard to do that. It's like going out in a boat that has a hole in it. It's going to sink. It's not going to float. Still point needs neutrality. If there's polarity coming in, it doesn't work. Take one moment, just clear. All right, good. Great. These are just tools. When I do it with my loved ones, my friends, I always say, I'm still here for you just from a place of neutrality, which is better for them. It's better for you and them. That's what everyone really wants. People here really want neutrality. Again, price a cup of coffee a day. Are you kidding me? Every day, you drink coffee, what do you get? You get like this. Every day I have a few occasions when I go here. This is worth, from my perspective, I can't... there's a lot of neat things on planet Earth. And I have to say, for me, and of course I invented it, so I spent a lot more than most folks did to make it. And from my perspective, there's no other thing on planet Earth that I've come across that I value more than this in terms of a physical thing. Why? Because for me it clears karma. It dissolves and clears karma. And to me, I would give everything I have in a flash to clear karma rather than live with karma. You couldn't pay me to live with karma. On that note, thank you all so much for coming and joining us. Take some moments. We went through some stuff. Everyone, let's finish. Take a big breath in. Drop in here to the space between the breaths. Just hold for a moment. This is a muscle like anything else. You flex it, you start to get practiced in it. No different than working out or going to university, getting the brain going. You want to get this going? Come to a few of our seminars. Come do a live stream. On that note, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Much love and aloha here from Maui. Take some moments to drop in. If you're coming on our call tomorrow, use between now and then as a retreat. So if you can, at 2, 3, 4 occasions, drop in, hold still point. Go to find a quiet place in your home if you don't have one yet. Open up here, open the quantum field up with the laser, or look around, find some things to dissolve. Practice this once or twice before tomorrow, if you can. So when you get on tomorrow, this is second nature, and maybe we'll do some quanticize and we'll cover some new stuff tomorrow. Thank you so much, and aloha.